Why religion matters. Religious ideas have been central to human culture and society for thousands of years. They have been the inspiration behind art, architecture, and epic literature, from the Bible to the Quran, from Homer's Odyssey to Icelandic sagas. Whether we know it or not, whether we like it or not, whether we agree with them or not, religious ideas have influenced systems of morality and our very understandings of life and death. Traditional expressions of religion are still with us. Today, people experience religious buildings and ceremonies at weddings and funerals. But even in 21st century Britain, where church attendance is in years-long decline, religious-related ideas remain widespread, such as in beliefs in the afterlife, guardian angels, horoscopes, or alternative spiritualities. Many popular sayings in English are from the Bible. Think eye for an eye, love thy neighbour, good Samaritan, the blind leading the blind, cast the first stone, eat, drink, and be merry, writing on the wall, and many more. We all know that religion has justified acts of bigotry and even extreme brutality. Even to this day, we only need think of groups like ISIS, American presidents going to war with the enthusiastic backing of Christian fundamentalists, or far-right attacks on Muslims on the basis of their religion supposedly being incompatible with the values of a supposedly Christian country. In this country, the medieval church justified the social hierarchy, class relations, and oppression with reference to God, theology, and the Bible. This has even been updated to be relevant for today's ruling class. The austerity measures under David Cameron's governments were justified with reference to a Thatcherite reading of the Bible in favour of charity rather than a strong welfare state. But religion has also inspired reactions against the ruling class. Liberation theology in Latin America emerged in opposition to American imperialism, where religion and the interests of workers and peasants has gone hand in hand, and where priests have even been murdered for taking a stand. Radical traditions can be found in arguably any religious tradition, particularly when attacking landowners and the wealthy, demanding care for the poorest in society, and providing a community as protection for the individual. These common ideas across religious traditions can be taken not only in reformist directions, but used to justify more revolutionary change. Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, and no doubt many more, have long traditions noting the connections between their teachings and Marxism or socialism, sometimes to the point that they are seen as one and the same thing. And while religious capitalists preach a gospel of wealth being the result of hard work and a sign of being blessed by God, religion has simultaneously provided opposition to this fantasy by also being used on the side of the workers. The rise of the labour movement in Britain owed much to Christian and Jewish socialists, with their traditions of combating poverty, homelessness and deprivation, and a hope for a transformed world, sometimes labelled a New Jerusalem. And that religion has been part of the labour movement should be no surprise given our national history, where religion has been integral to any number of revolutionary movements. Think, for instance, of the Peasants' Revolt of 1381, inspired by ideas from the Bible about social equality and a time when all things would be shared in common. Think of the English Revolution of the 17th century and the advancements made in democratic thought and visionary ideas of a better future by religious figures from outside the established church. Religion isn't automatically good or bad, pro or anti-worker, revolutionary or reactionary, any more than film or literature are. But it can be all these things because it's an integral part of human culture and society, a shared language. Karl Marx got religion right, though maybe not in the way many people think. Marx famously claimed that religion is the opium of the people. This is popularly understood as an outright attack on religion as manipulation. But if we read the fuller version of the saying, we see that Marx knew how complicated religion could be. The wretchedness of religion, he stressed, is at once an expression of and protest against real wretchedness. Religion is the sigh of the oppressed creature, the heart of a heartless world, the soul of soulless conditions. It's the opium of the people. This is why even some atheists have embraced the more revolutionary parts of religion as a way of understanding what a better world would look like and how to achieve it. People like William Morris, who had long given up his faith by the time he was active in politics, saw the values of solidarity, community, and pride in work emerging from our shared religious heritage, ideas which should not be lost and could now challenge and help overthrow the uncaring individualism of capitalism. We should not underestimate the appeal of these values in an era where loneliness has thrived as a consequence of contemporary capitalism. In everyday practices, we see the connections made between non-religious and religious people. Campaigning on housing, welfare, and poverty regularly involves people from churches and mosques working alongside agnostics and atheists. No matter how their values are personally justified, the reason why people can work together is that they clearly do have shared beliefs, goals, and concerns about the devastation caused by class-ridden society. People from whatever tradition who interpret their religion in such ways, whether committed members of radical religious communities or a casual believer, are potentially part of any response to a heartless world as much as agnostics and atheists, who likewise want to overturn class oppression. This should not mean accepting any views. Reactionary views should be challenged, religious or otherwise, and the Labour movement cannot promote this or that religion, and will remain central in opposing ongoing imperialist and capitalist versions of religion. But the trade unions and the labour movement are now the main custodians of those inherited and shared values of solidarity and community, which will one day transform the world.